all right. Are you guys ready?
Are they ready?
Are they
Are
ready?
they ready?
I think that's the question.
They look a bit nervous, but they might be ready as well. I don't know.
Trembling in the back.
Yeah, hey, medic. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so anything you want to say before we start?
Just don't take it personally.
Okay, don't take it personal, guys. This is, let's roast it.
And I hope their life insurance is up to date.
All right, good. Should we start?
Let's do it.
Okay, our first startup that is pitching is from Poland. The name of the startup is Elimi, and the name of the pitcher is Adam. So please welcome on stage, Adam. No excuses, sorry, buddy.
Hello, do you hear me? Hi. Adam, pleased to meet you. Hi, guys. So let's start with the pitch. I'm from Elimi. It's all about flirting. First, as a short disclosure, we're not typical dating app. We're more about gaming and flirting in the background. So I'm here to tell you about some problems in current mobile dating. It's all about looks. You just browse through the profiles, taking a look at the photos. As a guy, you eventually send out hundreds of messages, and that's it. It's very laborious and monotonous experience. As a girl, you're receiving a tons of unwanted attention, and as a guy, you're simply lost among many. The main problem is all about looks, and it's okay for a starter, for the first impression, to get your attention in. But the real foundation of human interactions and relationships are also brains, and we are missing here that in Badoo, on Tinder, or other services. Think, when you are on a date from Badoo or Tinder, profiles look super cool, but in reality it simply didn't work. Why? Because brains wasn't known to each other. Our solution for that is called LMI. It's a mobile app when we believe that flirt is a game and you should simply have fun. In LMI, a girl is creating a game with a task. She tempts guy with a very super simple profile, only one photo, one tweet about her and some tags, and particularly with the task. On the other hand, there are guys, up to 4 guys can join in the game, and they are competing for the girl by showing off their creativity through the answers and really expressing themselves. After each task, a girl can eliminate the worst performer, and she adds another task, and the process repeats. A single game can have up to 3 tasks, and in the end, there's this last, probably the best guy standing, and she's making the final decision. Do I want to interact with him or not? If not, I'm not obliged to anything. If yes, we are added to each other's contact list, and we can chat. What are LMI's unique selling propositions? First of all, we're giving superpowers to the girls. They are in the total control of the process, and they are lacking this whole unwanted attention and spam. Guys can really express themselves and do it effectively. And okay. And also, we are mainly about looks and brains, because those 2 things really matter in flirting. We are also fun and challenging, because some users of LME use it at work as a break during their work time, and it's far more entertaining than, browsing Facebook or swiping through Tinder. We are also real-time, so like this presentation, it's right here, right now, in the context of the whole situation, with the tasks that you've been given, with the tools that you have, and within the time limits that you have. I would like to ask a question. How many of you in the audience are singles? Please raise your hand. It's not a disease. I'm also currently single. Okay, there are a few. Please go to www.elmiapp.com, download it on iPhone or Android, enjoy it, and share it with your friends. Thank you.
There's one thing I forgot to mention. This year we have a new innovation. It's called the Roastometer. Can we just display it, please? You can use your Pioneers app, click on the interact button and vote. And you can say, roast them harder, tease him a bit more, hey, slow down, this guy's actually cool. Or,
that's cool.
Dude, your ass is getting roasted if it's reverse roasting. I'm just saying, please be active there. All right, Grill Masters.
Your turn, guys.
So my question, we met about a year and a half ago. What traction, interesting idea, I think it's an interesting idea, but what have you done with it, since then, usage, all that other stuff?
Okay, so we started to test it publicly at the end of May, and launched it officially 6 or 7 days ago, a week ago. During this week, we've got first 1,000 fresh users. They're playing around 150 games per day. Around 20% of those games are timed out, so 80% of games are really happening. From those games, around 65% is ending with an interaction and connection. And those users who won those games within this week exchanges over 10,000 messages. To put it into perspective, since May, when we were just silently but publicly testing it out, we've gathered like 4,000 users, and now 1,000 within 1 week when we decided that it is ready and we should go public.
So, two quick things.
Okay.
Number one, do you really need to get girls to play more games?
That's a fair point.
Well, the thing is...
Wait.
Okay.
Number two, do you really think I'm going to jump through all these hoops starting with the game?
Okay. At first...
Delete.
Okay. So this thing got started at Start Week in London, where we were simply surprised by the feedback, especially from the girls, because I had also opportunity to speak with a lot of guys involved in dating services around the world. And what I've heard is, please the girls and the guys will follow. So nothing personal, but we are not thinking as much about guys as girls. And the thing is that over 85 tested out girls are simply liking the idea and using this app. So surprisingly, yes, they are willing to put this a little bit of effort, additional effort, and create those games. They can also use ready-to-use tasks. We have like a few hundreds of them, so it's not as time-consuming as it seems.
So I didn't understand at all how the intelligent piece comes into this.
Intelligent piece, okay. From my personal experience, I was also using some dating services in the past, and what I didn't like in them was that I always had to send out those messages and wait for some answer. And I knew that I could better if I would be given some other tools. So for instance, I know I was dating some architect designer, and the thing that turned her on was after the first date, she lost her glove in my car. I prepared some super cool photo that this glove is captive, and it will be destroyed if we won't meet, and it all started a 2 years long relationship. So this possibility to express myself differently than only through a profile or some long message is the thing. And in terms of some intelligence on the back end, of course, we are working on some mechanism to better fit users because, for instance, let's say, well, you're not an average guy, but let's get an average guy, and he's constantly losing. Because
I think your answer is taking far too long.
Okay.
Let's talk to Gil, who met his wife online. What do you think, buddy?
Thank you, Jason. How many girls are on your team?
Could you repeat? How many girls?
How many women are working for the company?
Working. We have one woman in the team.
What does she do?
Quality testing and feedback. UX feedback.
If your product is designed to win women over, your head of product should be a woman, right? I mean, if that's the
That's a good point.
Right?
Yes. Well, from the beginning, we knew that we have to have a girl within our team, so that's what happened. And also, as an advisor, we have a sexologist and psychologist, and she's a girl because we knew that this perspective is very important. And there's this thing that if you're working on something, you're just narrowing your vision. So I think that it's better to constantly reach out to outside advisors and check our fresh feedback with them, not only not being based only on your own opinions.
What?
Within the team.
I mean, I'm just saying the audience kind of,
Roast
you can
harder.
raise the
Yeah,
bar.
okay.
You can,
Well, I just, the big
So.
question comes like, why the fuck do you need another dating app? Like, I really don't understand.
Okay.
You have
Because
like Tinder,
although-
like, I just really, there's literally 100, do you know how many fucking dating apps I see like literally every week, and they're all fucking
Okay.
retarded. Like, I honestly do not
That's true.
understand
That's
why this
true.
is so much better. Like, it's not clear to me.
Okay.
And maybe I'm just slow, but like, please explain to me why this is so much better. Where you have your traction is not even frankly, that impressive. All right, like
Just Okay, as I mentioned during the presentation, this thing about looks and brains, because in practice, okay, you've got profiles on Badoo, on OkCupid, stuff like that, but OkCupid made some research, and it showed that people are only taking into account photo, not the description. So we should add something else to show off the brains, not profile.
If OkCupid has tons of users and the data is crystal clear that people are behaving in a certain way, you'd need to come with a ton of proof that this totally different model is going to generate you know, at the end of the day, people are using these apps to actually get a date, right? Or in the case of Jason, to get married. So how do you, like, you know, you're making a very, very aggressive claim, and you don't, as Marvin's saying, you don't really have the data to prove this.
Actually,
and
no,
the other
85
thing is, like,
people, that's actually not data.
Yeah, and the value
of
data. You know, the value of this business on a per user basis is actually very small. I mean, it's very tough to monetize these things. So, you know, this business more than almost any other, you need to be talking to investors when you have, you know, hundreds of thousands of users or millions of users. And I think that's the pitch. I mean, the pitch really should consist of, here are the numbers, here's what I can prove. OkCupid's doing it wrong, you know, and
okay. So first of all, not 85 people, but are right now around 5,000. So that's a difference. Of course, it's still not enough to talk about real traction. To do that, we have to reach out to people, because in dating only three things works in terms of.
That's 85,000 users.
5,000 users currently.
5,000.
Yes, 5,000.
How many matches? How many dates?
150 games per day, from which around 80, 90 girls ends up with a connection and with a chat. It's too early to get back to them and ask about, I know, have you met in person, stuff like that. We'll do that within.
Can we take a quick poll? How many people in the audience are downloading this app now? Put your hand up.
1, 2,
You got three new users.
4, okay, 5. They are shy. 7.
How many who are downloading are not part of the office team?
how many would pay €1 for this app?
They haven't tried it yet.
And that's the problem, my friend.
I get it. We'll get to that. Well,
all right. Sorry, we're out of time for you. Any like last one sentence word of advice to take home for Adam?
Pivot.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks. Give it up for Adam.
Global Express, out the country, but the blueberries still connect. On the low, but the yacht got a triple deck. But when you young, what you expect? Yep. Grand opening, grand closing.
More cowbell.
All right, the next startup on stage is called Farm 432. It's from Austria, and it's a lady pitching with the name of Katharina. Please welcome on stage, Katharina.
Dead, back to take over the globe. Now break bread. I'm in Boeing Jets, Global Express. Out the country, but the blueberries still connect. On the low, but the yacht got a triple deck. But when you young, what you expect? Yep. Grand opening.
Sorry. When you see like the roaster meter, dude, your asses are getting roasted is meaning when you have the opinion that the pitcher is roasting and fighting back. All right, that's not. Just to make clear. All right, stage yours.
One quick question. Does boring us to tears count as roasting us?
No. Unless because you felt, you know, hurt and vulnerable, but otherwise no. Stage yours.
All yours.
Hi, my name is Katharina. I'm from Austria, so I'm local. My brand is Live-In, so we develop creations where humans, nature, and design meet. And I would like to introduce to you our first project. And lunchtime is quite over, but I hope you enjoy it anyways. So the topic is production of animal protein in the future. So in 2050, we're going to be 9 billion people on this planet. 9 billion. And we're going to need around 70% more food and 50% more meat or animal protein. And the way we currently solve this is factory farming or farming animals in confined feeding operations. And for this, we need 1/3 of croplands already. 1/3 of croplands to feed these animals. We use around 80% of antibiotics that are produced in this world to give to livestock as well, and they're the single biggest factor for climate change. So, well, that doesn't seem quite positive, right? So there's definitely a need for new ways of producing food and animal protein. So let's look at the biggest factor in animal or livestock, commercial livestock production. It's animal feed, as I already said. So 10 kilograms of feed produces around 1 kilogram of beef, for example, but depending on species, up to 9 kilograms of insects. So the difference is also that these 10 kilograms of feed in beef production, for example, they need to be high quality grain. In insects, they mostly can be low grade feed materials like waste, basically. To give you an example, 1 kilogram of beef takes around 15,000 liters of water to produce. Insects, they almost need no water, or very little. It's around 3 kilograms of CO2 to produce 1 kilogram of beef, while around 2 grams of CO2 for insects. So this is the how, and the next thing is what we do. So
That looks delicious. Wow. Please tell us that you brought some samples. Marvin's starving.
wait for it.
He's starving to death right now. Yum.
So we develop insect farming equipment. That is automized, it's easy to use, and enables you to breed insects cleanly in an hermetically enclosed environment. We kind of started out using sort of almost a naive approach of developing this device and designing it in a way that the insects would love it.
Have you figured out how to make them?
1 second.
Have you figured out how to make insects taste like chocolate?
We can. Absolutely.
Let's get some chocolate crickets up here then.
Yeah. So we even painted it blue from the inside out because this is actually the color that the insects chose in the breeding tests. It also looks quite nice.
Really?
So this is what we do.
Not really.
And before I get roasted now, I want to show you some guys who got roasted this morning.
Oh, tasty! Wow!
You first. Not happening.
That's
Come
a
on,
challenge
guys.
to you now.
Give it a try.
Is that a chewy one?
Go for it.
I think I'm gonna need a beer after.
Is it because
My partner Julia is sitting here in the front, and she has some more snacks. So
Tastes like
whoever
French
wants
fries.
to try, please go
chicken?
ahead.
Tastes like chicken. Tastes like chicken.
They're
Okay,
crispy, right?
two things. Number one, what the fuck? Number two.
Thank you, I guess.
No, number two. Was this? And this is a question for you. Was this a startup pitch or a university lecture?
Well, doesn't mean that a startup pitch cannot be educational, right?
Actually, well done. Great point. Great point. But my point is, that was boring as shit, and you should have actually got to the point much faster.
Oh, really? I think the audience liked it. Did you like it?
Wait. Can I get a volunteer to come sample the product, please? One volunteer from the audience. Come on up.
That didn't look great.
It's not look great. Jump in.
I think one moved.
Jump in. Jump in.
Cannot be. We have some
Yum,
dip
yum, yum.
as well. If you want to have it.
Here you go. And you can take the whole thing. Take the whole thing, please. Okay.
Tastes like bad Chinese food.
It's pretty god awful.
That's not true. You can go ahead and try it yourself.
But
Not bad.
They're actually pretty good. I do need a beer afterwards, though.
They're
It's a little
salty.
dry.
No, take the whole thing. Take the whole thing. No, but you go ahead.
Normally I would, catch bugs outside of the house. How much is it going to cost me to buy my new bug-emator?
Well, this is gonna cost probably around the same as a kitchen appliance. So it's really something that you, for example, this product, you can use in the house and it's gonna be around the same range.
So hundreds of euros to grow my own bugs.
100 or 200, but it's gonna save you quite a few bucks as well.
How many bugs do I need to replace a steak?
Well, it depends which bugs you breed. So we started with one type of insects. There's a huge variety out there.
I mean, those crickets are pretty tasty.
Yeah.
What's the cricket to steak ratio?
Well, I guess you need around maybe 25 to 30.
And how many beers do I need after those 25?
That depends on you.
I actually understand the problem you're trying to solve, but the question I have is the solution better or worse for it? I mean, and you understand, I'm going to go back to my main point of just, university lectures, that especially when you're pitching, it's just like, you have to grab my attention. This is the feedback I gave all my teams. You have to grab my attention right away. And I was frankly dying up here until you sort of showed like the insects sort of piece, right? Like, good, there's shock value. Ooh, you have insects, cool, right? But it's like, at the end of the day, it's just like, why do you think this is going to be like a real business? Because there's massive consumer sort of behavior change. That is a tough thing to do, is making people change their behavior. I don't worry about you have the technology for it, totally get that, totally get the problem, but this feels like this is a solution that is like kind of completely off base.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think as a pitch, you didn't address, right, in terms of sort of feedback on your pitch, right? I mean, you're very compelling. This is a huge market. I've seen, I'm sure both of you guys have, we've all heard about the insect as protein thing before. It's not really new. The novelty here is the in-home bug-erator thing that you're building, right? And you didn't, you start with that, right?
That's just the first product.
Yeah, but you start with that. You say, okay, this is what's going to happen in this market. We believe there's a whatever billion-dollar market for people eating bugs at home, right? Of which I am not one of them. I will kill and eat these two before I'll eat the bugs. But the point is, if there's a market for that,
the bugs taste better than I do.
if there's a market for that, what's the bug to Jason ratio?
Well,
The thing is,
first of
like,
all-
you didn't address the market. You didn't address the consumer education issue. You didn't address, what's the segment of the population. And probably there's a huge thing on the table you didn't talk
Well,
about, which is
there's
that
2
the people that are
billion
most likely to
Yeah,
eat the
talk
bugs are
about
most
it.
likely to run their own bug-erators at home, right? But you didn't talk about any of those things that would make this a compelling pitch. So I think to echo what was said, this is not about like, do we want to eat bugs on stage in front of 100 people, and it's not about do we think people are going to be eating bugs in the future? They're already eating bugs now. The question is this a business, and how do you communicate about that business in a way that convinces investors to take someone else's money and put it in this company? And I think on that, you have a long way to go in terms of telling that story in a compelling way.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I traveled.
We're unfortunately
running
out of time. Any last words from you guys?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, well, I traveled the last 1.5 years and fed bugs to people. 2 billion people worldwide do eat bugs already.
Yeah.
And we eat, every one of you in this room eat around 500 grams every year, just in our everyday food. And this can be a business because the insect breeding industry is developing right now. There's billions of dollars invested in it from the EU, from in the States as well. And we developed the technology. So if this is a home breeder or if it is a different case, doesn't matter. We develop the way you grow it efficiently.
right, but in terms of a pitch, you didn't tell us what's unique about the technology. You didn't tell us who the competitors are, how you're going to beat them, the regulatory environment, none of that stuff. So I think this, from a pitch
It's
perspective.
painted blue on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Blue. It's all about
Got
blue.
it.
All right, sorry, we have to come to an end. There's not a start waiting, but please make some noise. Carolina.
Find open ahead with no pain, just draw inspiration.
Right. You knew that the poll said, dudes, your ass is getting roasted. I'm just mentioning it.
I thought it was going to be like mystery meat she was making. My own meat maker for the house.
So do you guys like it so far? Good. Good. Because with one more startup to go, came all the far away from Hungary. The startup's name is Shokami, and the pitcher is Daniel. So please welcome on stage Daniel from Shokami.
Hi all. So I'd like to start with the audience, if you don't mind. I'd like to ask you how many of you own a car? Raise your hands, please. Okay. And how many of you own a bicycle and use it weekly, let's say? Okay. So I think you will face those challenges I'm going to talk about. So the meaning of Shokami is a third eye in Japanese. And in the last year, there was like 500,000 accidents against cyclists caused by negligent drivers. And we believe 50% of these accidents could have been preventable. We see more and more cyclists on the road every day because for the Y and millennium generation, cycling is a cultural choice. Car sales are declining while new bike sales are rising. For the first time in Europe, the trend is the trend. So, and the urban infrastructure hasn't kept up with it. So we are building a blind spot radar for cyclists and car drivers so they can share information better between each other and have better situational awareness. Car drivers having a better situational awareness, they can recognize how many bikes are around them. We are building software and the hardware as well. It will run as a service on your phone, and activating your it's based on the eye beacon technology, which can measure the distance between the two actors. But that's not all. We also want to reward drivers and cyclists for being more environmentally friendly and watching out for each other. Drivers can lower their insurance premium, and cyclists can reward Shoka scores, which they can spend later on for virtual items and real-life items. So basically, that's all. Thank you.
What do you do again?
So, say again?
What do you do again? You know, here's one thing about the presentation. You don't feel very excited here. You should call this choke on me, actually. Yeah. That's actually what you call it. You know, I know this is actually a challenge, generally speaking, in Central Eastern Europe, where you just actually don't emote. Like, I think everyone saw Stelli's presentation yesterday, right? He emotes. He cares and has energy, right? If you haven't seen it, go watch that video. This was like the exact opposite. And so you're trying to convince me, you're trying to pitch me, right? And if you do not show that you actually give a shit or have any passion about what the fuck you're doing, I don't give a shit about what you're doing.
Okay, fair enough. Well, okay, this will be long. 6 minutes.
So as the cyclist on the stage, the problem you're trying to solve is pretty great, because I've almost been hit. I can't tell you how many times.
Is that on purpose or not?
Probably. I think the best option is removing drivers from cars. So I was really hoping that you were going to have a self-driving car business.
Self-driving car business will come like 20 years from now, but with your application, you can upgrade your old cars immediately and recognize how many cyclists are around you. So you will have to wait for that.
So the entire pitch, I was thinking, what's in it for the driver? And there's insurance premiums. It's actually very little incentive for them to even think about it. They just look at me and they go, oh, bug, lunch.
I think nobody wants to accuse a negligent accidents. I think when you're driving your car, you've been in many situations.
In the UK, they actually swerve at you for being on the road. Absolutely.
But nobody wants to accuse a negligent accidents. Nobody wants to harm each other.
They actually will give you a little nudge just to teach you a lesson for being on the road. I kid you not.
Okay, but if you're going to cause an accident, you will face a lot of trouble. And I think even if that kind of driver who's like doing those kind of stuff you just told me, we've seen those drivers, but let's say they are not the cyclist-friendly drivers. If they are not caring about the cyclists, they won't. And so they won't use our app. They are not in our target group. So. But there are many drivers who care about cyclists as well and want to share the road.
What have you done so far with this? What kind of traction? Where are you at? Have you rolled the product out?
We are at early stage. We are in an accelerator program for 5 months now. We don't have any traction. We are going to launch our prototype in mid-February. And we are going to launch it in one city. We are facing many challenges. And usually they ask me, okay, we are targeting 2 target groups, the drivers and the cyclists in the same times.
Why are you doing this?
What's the motivation?
Yeah,
the personal motivation behind it? It's quite personal, but I can share you my girlfriend is a huge biker, and recently she became pregnant, and she still was on the road. And we already had like 2 pivots before this until we ended up to here.
I think that there's a lesson in this sort of generally, and it's not fair because we've only had a few minutes. But I think, when I listen to your pitch, I think there's a mistake which I think you might be making, which is sort of, well, there's 2. One is you're not anticipating sort of the obvious questions that we would have about how this is going to be viable, right? And the second one is sort of there's this assumption that okay, this will create value if every cyclist uses it, if every car uses it, and if insurance companies agree to lower premiums, and all these other things have to happen for this to start to create value for people. But if I'm using this, if a lot of people are using this, I can still get hit by a car that isn't using this, right? So you need insane adoption levels in very difficult markets to even deliver the beginning of the value proposition that you're talking about. And I think that theoretically, it's true, right? If everybody adopts this, then you might be able to create some value. But the path to getting there is so long and hard that it's hard to believe.
I got that part, and our launch strategy will be that we are going to launch Shokami city by city. So once we have enough early adopter in one city, enough driver, and we have
even in one
good
city,
ratio.
even in one city.
Okay, let's say there are like 100 bikers in Vienna using our application and only 1 car out there using our app as an ambient app, having audio and visual feedback. Would you install this app knowing that there is 1 car out there who is watching out for me? Would you install it?
No.
No.
Okay, how many cars do you need? What do you think would be the good ratio? Everybody would have to use it?
People would have to believe that it will actually protect them, I think. I mean, people are ultimately rational, and if there's 1 car in Vienna using this, I don't think anyone would be interested.
I missed as a cyclist, what do I actually need on me or on my bike?
You just only need to install this application once, and it will run as a service. Or you can install this iBeacon device on your bicycle, and once you're on the road, you will stream your location in the proximity.
And again, I think the problem that you're trying to solve is a fantastic problem, but the problem and the solution don't match. Getting market traction from drivers to install this and run it so they don't hit me on the road, sadly it's not going to happen.
It's a hard challenge, but we are working on it. We have a really good team behind us, so once we are out there, you will see where we are and where we go.
Here's my advice. You've pivoted twice, right? You've pivoted twice in what time period?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
You've pivoted twice in what time period?
In 1 year.
In 1 year?
Yes.
That's
a lot of pivoting. What were the previous 2 businesses?
The first pivot was like rating cars, like how they behave on the road, like voting up and voting down them, according to their license plate. That was the first. The second was the car-to-car communication, like an upgraded Waze with better visual and audio feedback, and then we concentrated on the biggest issue. The strongest actor on the roads are the cars, and the weakest are the bicycles, and nobody cares about bicycles. If you see Waze, Google Maps.
We invested in Waze. I mean, there was a
Okay.
very, very clear reason why people downloaded and installed Waze, because it got you from point A to point B in the most efficient manner possible.
Yeah, the most efficient, okay.
Running over cyclists.
Okay,
not
that's
running
our
over
biggest
cyclists.
problem. My biggest problem with Waze, it gets you from A to B as the fastest possible way as possible. But we are going to get you A to B the safest way possible, and I think that's a huge difference.
Here's a net, all right? This presentation, as well as last presentation, these are basically bizarre solutions to actual real problems. And that's a hard thing to overcome. You have not convinced any of us that this is actually even makes any sense at all, frankly. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I do not want you to waste your and your team's precious time. You do not get your time back. Work on something that really matters with a very good solution. This is going to be very, very hard to do, so do not waste your time if you take anything out of this.
Wait for our prototype, please.